I have a video of a man who explains why he believes it's tough for women in the dating world and why, they have the issues that they have. He explains it clearly. He has a solution. I'm going to play the video and then you'll get my thoughts after. Let's get into it.
Men value system, order, and structure. As a man, because I have a vision for my life, I know exactly what to do and what I can't do. See, the reason why it's hard for a lot of women to find good men is because men don't have their lives managed. That's what a good man is. We can define good as being that which is able to be managed. So a good man is a man who's able to be managed. It's by what? Managed by God. And how God usually manages a man is through vision. Gives him a vision that orders his life, that sends him on a directed path. And through the course of being on that path, you happen to stumble upon a woman, because that's what the word findeth mean. He who findeth a wife has found a good thing. So if we know what good means, then we can translate that sentence as saying, he who stumbles upon a wife has found that which is able to be managed. And the reason why he's able to recognize this woman as a wife is because he himself has been managed by God. So he can recognize something else that's being managed by God. That's a reason for a man to have help. If he has something that he needs to manage, and he needs help meeting the requirements of that, so he needs someone as strong or stronger than him to help him meet the requirements of fulfilling that vision. Did you catch what I said? A wife is a helpmeet to help meet the requirements of a thing. But the man has to have a thing in order for that woman to help him meet the requirements of. Otherwise, he doesn't need any help. Or he doesn't need the kind of help that requires him to have a wife. A lot of women say that dating is hard. And it is when you don't know who you are. Dating is hard when you're not managed by the source. It is from the source that we get resources, and God only gives resources to people who can effectively and timely use them. Manage them. You don't believe me? Let's qualify that. In Genesis, God said he wouldn't allow it to rain, because if he would have allowed it to rain, it would have caused things to grow. The problem with that is, if things start to grow, there's nobody there to manage what was going to result as a result of him allowing it to rain. So he withheld the rain, sent the man. Did you catch that? Man of age meant. Man of age meant. Management. God is a God of management. What you mismanage, you will lose. What you do to little, you'll do to much.
So that's the gist of the video. You saw the video. What do you think? For me, when he mentioned obviously the management aspect, I understand that part. That's something that I've always had an understanding on, in terms of just being able to, manage yourself as a person first and foremost before, you get anything else that you're looking to manage. But in terms of obviously making the clear distinction that there are men who are like this is key. Because at the end of the day, if you're a woman and you're looking to find, a person, you're looking to find that person that you believe doesn't exist, there's certain things that you won't be able to see in a man who manages himself a certain way. Because there's certain things, in my humble opinion, that you will look at as maybe an issue. Maybe because you are not privy to men like this in the general sort of day-to-day. You're not privy to what it comes with. The sort of order, the discipline, the ability to manage things in a certain way. He may have a certain routine. Only women who are of a certain type, who understand these things, will accept this. It depends if a woman would want to accept a man like this if she's never experienced it. It depends on how well she's gonna understand there's ways that these types of men move, that he's speaking on. There's ways, the mentality that they have, they're very clear on things. They're willing to get a woman to do what's required, but they're very clear on what and how it should work and how it should run. A lot of women may look at certain aspects of a man like this and think he's too rigid or too controlling, but not knowing that management comes with responsibility. So all the onus is on him. It's on both of you. Obviously, if you're in a union, it's on both of you. But the point is, for things to be at a certain level the responsibility that he says God has given man is as such that he has to make the right choices more often than not when he's doing things when it comes to himself as well as a family and his purpose, which will go beyond his family a lot of the time if he believes. So you're getting a person that is organized generally, and if you've not been exposed to men like that generally, it's going to be tough to acclimatize yourself to. So this is where the conversation has to get to: what are you looking to really have in your life as a woman? What are you really looking to have? Do you want somebody who has this organized way of thinking to be able to be managed by God, as he says? You're going to have to have a certain belief system first and foremost. And if you don't believe, then hey, you do what you do. But in order for you to have some form of guidance, it's best, in my humble opinion, that you get somebody that has that kind of belief system that is clear and concise about where he wants to go, and is putting steps towards it, especially if he, is looking for a wife or stumbles upon and finds a wife. But a woman has to be a wife first and has to be moving in that kind of way. And a lot of the time, that's not the case. That's not the case. So if a guy is coming in, he shouldn't have to try and change what he sees of you. He should be coming in, getting exactly what he should be getting. And then there should always be, as time goes on, moments where you both grow. So he gets you and you get him at a certain state, but every moment in your union, you're growing. You're maybe unlearning things that need to be unlearned, because no one's going to get to each other perfect. It's just that, are you willing to do the work on each other and individually? So this is where the management aspect comes in. Women have to be privy to how men like this come across, because sometimes you will miss it because you're not privy to it, and you will chalk it up to, oh, this person wasn't able to deal with me, or this person was too rigid or is controlling. No, he just has a little bit of order that you're not used to, and there's certain boundaries that maybe you're not used to as well.
Ladies, all a man ever has to offer you is these things.
I'm going to go ahead and spare you all the time and energy, because this is a 4-minute long video where she goes on to list every bad thing that a man could ever possibly do or say to you or give you, right? However, for those of us that don't live in feminist Lululand and we're here in reality, I would like to point out a couple of things. One, this woman probably does not have a man, right? The women that make this type of content never have men. And you would think that she would be off somewhere, not thinking about men, not making lists about men, not making her content about men, and yet, here we are. It's giving male-centered, is it not? I'm just saying. But number 2, these women never seem happy. And they're trying to convince you to not be around men because men will make you miserable and they'll give you trauma and diseases and heartache, and yet she doesn't have a man, and she's still miserable. See, it doesn't help. They're trying to invite you into their misery. The phrase single women keep women single is so true. This woman is trying to keep you single and in her misery because she wants company. Don't you dare let her. Now, I understand that there are pros and cons in being in a relationship. We all do. However, sitting at home by yourself complaining about a relationship you don't have, that's a specific type of misery I would never like to be a part of. Thank you.
Even the thought of a woman, for example, or people looking at someone else and thinking, I'm going to associate myself with them based on their negative viewpoints, I find that lame. I'm going to basically say yes to a woman like that first woman who mentioned about, oh, these men are such and such, and then obviously the woman cut in to explain. Like, to even be associated to say, I'm going to jump on a bandwagon like that, that's lame. How are you going to have your situation and then look at someone else's and then try and jump on that bandwagon? Don't you want to get the answers of how you can maybe get better, as opposed to just jumping on a misery campaign? I've never understood that, because if you're always speaking about, oh, men are this and men are that, it is male-centered, as she said. It is a form of talking about men, irrespective. But the context she has was just one-sided. That first video, before the woman interjected, one-sided. Oh, let me just throw darts at what men are about negatively, as opposed to looking at where you played your part. And this is where they go wrong.
There's women who love men so much in private, and then they come on the internet and talk about how men are so shit, the world will be so much better without men. Stop being followers of bullshit. These people are hypocrites. But anyway, who am I to say anything?
And this is the problem that seems to be online a bit more. Because I believe in real life. When you experience real life, a lot of this stuff that you see online is all a facade with a lot of people about the options they believe they have for the right reasons. The options and the issues that they believe are out there with men, for example. It's like you can say all that stuff, but really and truly, if you're an honest woman, you know you want that guy. You know. If you ain't got nothing and you've got everything else sorted in your life, for example, you know you want that. All this pretending, all this fake outrage, and yeah, stop accepting those kinds of men that are like you, basically. And you should know what that means. Stop accepting the men who are like you. So basically the ones that aren't ish. Because at the end of the day, to keep accepting ain't ish men, there's something about you that has to be ain't ish as well. I cannot see no distinction between the two. If I'm a person that is understanding of things, and I believe I'm a person that's, more understanding and insightful on how to look at things, I'm not going to keep going with somebody that ain't ish. So how does it work that people can make assessments of, for example, men, women, can make assessments of men, complain, and then keep going with those types? That means you ain't ish as well. I don't see how you can make a distinction that, oh no, I'm better, it's just him. No, something about you ain't ish, and that's why you're picking that or accepting those advances. So these are the things, man. Online, you got to be honest, because in real life, all these superficial aspects that some women have or people have, it's like, nah, some guys are still out here doing what they're doing. They're doing what they're doing. There's a market for a certain kind of guy. So if they're trash, there's a market for that. There's a market for all types in the real world. Online is a different ball game. People want to talk as if everything is all nice and you got so many options, or you're not for certain types of guys. No, they are an option. There's a market for them. 100% has always been this way. Every era, there's always been a market for a certain kind of guy that is considered ain't-ish. That is more exciting. They have more edge. A lot of the women I've heard in my time say there's aspects of them that you like. So stop this fake outrage. I agree. Particularly online. The key is, are you able to see the solutions in your situation? Or are you just going to keep jumping on waves and bandwagons of being negative to men based on the experiences that you have accepted? You got to ask. You got to ask these questions. But let me know what you guys think. Like the video. And tell me, why is it tough for women outside in these streets who claim men ain't this, men ain't that? Why? What is wrong with the women? And why is it maybe the men who are of a certain caliber, why is it they are not going for those types of women who claim there aren't enough of good men out there?